Hey guys, welcome to Buddy Academy. I am Vidya and I will be teaching you Maths today. And today's topic is Chapter 5 Continuity and Differentiability in your NCERT Class 12. And this chapter comes under your Calculus, and Calculus is a very important chapter as it carries maximum weightage in your board exam. So pertaining to that, today we will see very important topics alone in the continuity and differentiability. So regarding that, we will see continuity today and the derivation of logarithmic functions and the parametric functions, and we will also see the second order derivatives. So without further delay, we will move on to the class. So guys, today we are going to see these four topics. Okay, so first we will see what is continuity, then we will see the differentiation of exponential function and also the logarithmic function, so that it is useful for all the other differentiation also, and we will see the parametric form of differentiation, and we will see the second order derivatives. First we will see the continuity. Okay, see, consider this function f of x equal to 1 if x is less than or equal to 0 and 2 if x is greater than 0. So the graph of this function will be like this. See, for every x less than or equal to 0, the y value, that is f of x, is 1. Okay, for all these x, the y value is 1, including for 0, the y value is 1. So in this function 0 is included, that is why it is marked like this. Whereas here, see, for all x greater than 0, that is all these x values are greater than 0, for all these x greater than 0, the y value is 2. That is, see, on a number line we have all the numbers, we have more numbers, we have infinite numbers, infinite real numbers on a number line, right? See, except the point at 0. Okay, all the other values of x, we have y equal to 2. That is, for this function 0 is not included. So see, while drawing the graph, we cannot draw this without taking our hand. Therefore, it is not continuous. Okay, it is not a continuous function. F of x is not a continuous function. That is, see, here if 0 is included, and for this function also if 0 is included, then we can say it is continuous. But here, see, we cannot draw this graph without taking our hand. So it is not a continuous function. Now consider another function. See, f of x is 1 if x is not equal to 0 and equal to 2 if x is equal to 0. So the graph for this function will be like this, that is, if x is not equal to 0 at this point, when x equal to 0, it is 2. Okay, y value is 2, and when x is not equal to 0, that is all these points, at all these points where x is not equal to 0, the y value is 1. Again, see, here the graph is not continuous. As if this point, if this 0 also included, then we can say it is continuous. But in this function, the 0 is not included here, where the function 0 lies here. Okay, again it is not a continuous function. Now what are the continuous function then? We will see. See, y equal to x is a continuous function, y equal to modulus of x is also continuous function, y equal to x square is also a continuous function. Why it is continuous function? See, I will tell you. Take x axis and y axis. Okay. See, on a xy plane, if you plot the function, that is y equal to x, means if x equal to 1, y is also 1, and if x equal to y is also 2, if x equal to 3, y is also 3. Okay. Similarly, if x equal to minus 1, y also will be minus 1. X equal to minus 2 means y also will be minus 2. Now how the graph of the function will be? It will pass through the 0, that is when y equal to 0, x is also 0. See, in this function the graph, we can first of all we can draw the graph without taking my hand. Also see, on all these points we have the function, that is in the 0 also the graph lies, therefore it is a continuous function. Whereas if you take y equal to modulus of x means if x is minus, if y is in negative, what will be the x value? Okay, if you plot this graph, again you will get a continuous graph. And y equal to x square, here also you will get the same graph, that you will get the same continuous graph. Okay, so this is how a continuous function will be. Now we will see a definition. We will see the definition for the continuous function. See, suppose f is a real function on a subset of the real numbers, and let C be the point on the domain of f. On the domain of f, I am just taking, what is the domain of f? Set of all real numbers. So I am just taking a point from the set of all real numbers, let it be C. Okay, suppose f is a real function on a subset of real numbers and let C be the point in the domain, then f is continuous at C if, when f will be continuous at C, we are going to see now, that is limit x tends to C, f of x equal to f of C. If this becomes true, then at C your function f is continuous. Based on this only we are going to do the problems now on continuity. Okay. Now let us see an example for the continuity of a function. See, f of x equal to mod x plus 3 if x is less than or equal to minus 3, and f of x equal to minus 2x if x lies between minus 3 and 3, and f of x equal to 6x plus 2 if x is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, for your easy understanding, let me show this on a number line. See, they have defined on all the real numbers, we have just taken a number line. Okay, see, where and all they defined minus 3 and 3. We will just take these two values and this function. Okay, first of all, see, it's a modulus of x plus 3. Okay, and the value of x is definitely negative value. Since x is less than or equal to minus 3, it is definitely going to be the negative value. So when x is negative, what will be the value? X, modulus of x is minus x plus 3. Okay, even in the previous chapter I told you why modulus of x is minus x. Okay, modulus of any value will be the absolute value of the number, right? But why it is minus x still? I have explained this in your previous chapter. If you have not yet seen, you can always visit to the Buddy Academy website and you can refer to the video. So in this interval they have defined the function like this, and at 3, see, x is less than or equal to minus 3. So equal to minus 3 also they have defined, and x is between minus 3 and 3. So in this interval minus 3 and 3 also they have defined the relation, they have defined the function here. And see, f x is greater than or equal to 3. So at equal to 3 also they have defined, and greater than 3, and in this interval also they have defined the relation here. Okay, so we will take this in different cases first of all. So at this interval we will going to check for the continuity as case 1, and this will be your case 2, and this will be your case 3, and at exactly at x equal to 3 we will find, we will keep it as case 4, and this interval will be your case 5. So we are going to see this problem in 5 different cases. Okay, but it is very easy. The simple logic, the simple concept we are going to follow is, see, limit x tends to C, f of x equal to f of C. If this exists, what happened? Your function is continuous at C. So For each and every cases, we are just going to find f of c, and after applying the limit for f of x, we are just going to verify whether the value is equal to f of c. Okay, first we will see case 1, that is, let us take any value c. Okay, let c be any real number. Okay, let c be any real number. Why it's a real number? On a number line, we have all the real number. So let case 1 be c. Let c be less than minus 3. Less than minus 3 means all these values will come under minus 3, less than minus 3. Okay. Now we will first find f of c, that is f of minus 3. Okay. Where minus 3 will lie? Which function will include this minus 3? This function, right, that is minus x plus 3. Okay. So that is minus x is minus 3 here. Actually the minus is already there in the function. Minus, instead of x only we are substituting minus 3, and plus 3 is there in the function. So minus into minus is plus 3 is plus 6. So f of c is plus 6. Now we will just apply the limit for f of x. Limit x tends to c, f of x equal to, x tends to c. C is what? Less than minus 3. So definitely this function will take. So what limit? X tends to c, f of x is minus x plus 3. What is c value? Minus 3, right? C is less than minus 3. So we can take minus 3. Even here you can write minus 3. So minus of minus 3 plus 6 equal to plus 3 equal to what? Minus plus 3 is plus 6. Therefore, see, limit x tends to c, f of x is equal to what? 6. F of c also 6. Therefore, it is equal to f of c. Therefore, f is continuous in the interval minus infinity to minus infinity comma minus 3. That is, in this interval our function f is continuous. Okay, I hope you understand this. In the other cases also we will see now. Case 2 is, let me take c equal to minus 3. As we discussed, our second case will be the value exactly at minus 3. Okay, exactly at minus 3 also. This actually for minus 3 we will take the left hand limit and also the right hand limit. Okay. Before that we will first find f of c. F of c is, see, minus 3 means we will take again this function, that is f of minus 3, it is minus of minus 3 plus 3, which is equal to 6. Now we will first find the left hand limit. Limit x tends to, that is left hand limit of minus 3, that is to the left hand side of minus 3. Okay, even here the left hand side of minus 3 there are so many values. So we will take that now of f of x. To the left hand side of minus 3, what are the values? What is the function actually? To the left hand side of minus 3 means less than minus 3, right? So you will take these values. To the right hand side of minus 3 means, that is what, in this interval. So you will take this value. Okay. So what? Minus x plus 3, what is, so here you will apply the limit x tends to minus 3. Okay, so minus 3 minus of minus 3 plus 3 equal to 6. Now we will just check for the right hand limit x tends to 3 f of x. So to the right hand side of minus 3 we have, what is the function? Minus 2x. Okay, so limit x tends to minus 3 minus 2x, on applying the limit we have plus 6. See, the left hand limit, the right hand limit value and the f of c value both are same. Okay, so we can write limit x tends to left hand limit, that is c minus f of x, is equal to limit x tends to c plus f of x is equal to f of c. Therefore, f is continuous at c equal to minus 3. Okay. Case 4, when c equal to 3, then f of c equal to, what is the function? 6x plus 2, right? 6 into c plus 2 and 6 into 3 plus 2, 6 3 is 18 plus 2 is 20. Okay, now we will just see the left hand limit, that is limit x tends to c minus, that is to the left of 3 f of x is equal to limit x tends to 3, to the left of 3 what is the function? Minus 2x, and minus 2 into 3 is minus 6, and limit x tends to c plus, that is the right hand limit. So limit x tends to 3, what is the right hand limit? 6x plus 2, and substitute the limit equal to 20. See here, both the left hand limit and the right hand limit are not same, therefore the at c the function does not exist, that is the function is not continuous. Okay, limit x tends to c minus f of x is equal to limit is not equal to limit x tends to right hand side limit f of x. Therefore limit x tends to c f of x does not exist. This you would have learnt in your class 11 also. Therefore f is not continuous at c equal to 3. Okay. So as I said, similarly you try the case 3 and case 4. Case 3 is your what? C, that is this case. Okay, C lies between minus 3 and plus 3. Okay, and case 5 is what? C greater than 3. Okay, these two cases I wanted you to try. Now we will move on to the next concept. Next we will see the algebra of continuous function. There is a theorem on that. We will see that now. Suppose f and g be two real functions continuous at a real number c, then f plus g is continuous at x equal to c. That is, if both these functions are continuous separately, their sum also will be continuous at c. Again, f minus g is continuous at c, that is their difference also continuous at c, and f into g is continuous at c, and f by g is continuous at c. That is, separately if they are continuous, then their sum, their difference, their product and their quotient also continuous at the same point. That is the theorem here. We'll see another theorem on continuous function. Suppose f and g are real valued functions such that f composite g is defined at c, then g is continuous at c and f is continuous at g of c, then f composite g is continuous at c. That is, see, f and g are real valued function that such that f composite g is defined at c. That is, at c the composition of these two functions are defined. If g is continuous at c and f is continuous at g of c, that is, g is continuous at c and f is continuous at g of c, then f composite g is continuous at c. That is, the composition of the function also continuous. Okay, based on that we will see an example problem now. See, look at the question. Show that the function f defined by f of x equal to modulus of 1 minus x plus mod x, where x is the any real number, is continuous function. Okay, define g by g of x equal to 1 minus x plus mod x, that is, this part alone. In the given function, the terms inside this modulus alone, we will take it as g of x and h the function by h of x equal to mod x. Okay, that is, this one we will take as mod x for all the real x. Then h composite g of x equal to h of g of x, that is, h of what is g of x? We have taken this function, right? Then h of x is what? H of x is modulus of x. So for this function, if you take modulus, we'll get f of x. So h of x is just the modulus of this term, which is equal to f of x. Okay, so f of x is what? Is a continuous function. Why means, see, modulus of x is a continuous. This you have already learnt even in the previous class n number of times, that is, modulus of x is a continuous function. Okay, I hope you know this. So since modulus of x is continuous, that is, this function is continuous, and 1 minus x is just the polynomial which is in addition with this continuous function. Hence, the function h of x is also continuous here. Okay, so that is what we learnt in the previous theorem. That is, g is continuous and f is continuous at g of c, then f composite g is also continuous. That is, see, this g is continuous here and h is already a continuous function, then their composite function is also continuous. Therefore, f of x is a continuous function. Okay, so x is a continuous function. I hope you already know this. That's why I have not done here. Okay, if you want, you can refer to the previous video, or you can just go through the example problems in your NCERT textbook. Okay, next we will see differentiability. Continuity gets over here. So these problems, if you practice, that's enough. Then we will move on to the differentiability now. So what is differentiability? We will see that. Suppose f is a real function and c is a point in its domain. For this function in a domain, we will take c. Then the derivative of f at c is defined by, then that is, derivative of this function at the point c. How is defined? You see, limit h tends to 0, f of c plus h minus f of x by h. Okay, the same you have already learnt in class 11, right? The same thing, the same definition it is. Okay, so the derivative of the function is expressed like this, that is, f dash is limit x tends to 0, this f dash of c is this function. Okay, Now we'll just go through the algebra of derivatives. This is very important. We'll use this in many problems. Okay, that is u plus or minus v dash is u dash plus v dash. That is, if you are finding the derivative of this function, that is sum of two function or difference of two function, you can always split it up and do the differentiation. And for product, okay, this is called product rule. That is uv the whole dash, dash represents your derivative, which is equal to u dash v plus uv dash. Okay, then next is the quotient rule. That is, if any function is given in the form of numerator and denominator, okay, and for finding derivative of this, that is u by v the whole dash is u dash v minus uv dash by v square. Okay, so this algebra of derivatives we will definitely use in solving problems. Next we will see a theorem on differentiability. See, a function f is differentiable at a point C, then it is also continuous at that point. That is, if a function is differentiable at P, at C, at this point if the function is differentiable, then the function is also continuous at the same point. Okay, we will just quickly go through this proof. See, f dash of c, just now we see how a function will be differentiable. That is, limit extends to c, f of x minus f of c divided by x minus c. Okay, now just take f of x minus f of c alone, multiply and divide by x minus c. Now apply the limit on both the sides. Okay, for this x should not be equal to c, because in the denominator we are taking x minus c. On applying the limit, what happened? By the algebra of limit we can split up the limits. Okay, here also we can split up the limits, but see, limit extends to c x minus c, that is, in place of x if I substitute c, what happened? It becomes 0. Okay, so the whole thing becomes 0. So on taking this term to the right hand side, we will have, that is, the left hand side will be equal to 0. On taking it to the right hand side, we will have limit extends to c, f of x equal to f of c. What does it mean? It means the function is continuous, but keep it in mind, it is not reversible. That is, a vice versa is not true. That is, if a function is continuous, it need not be the differentiable function. Okay, if a function is differentiable, it is definitely a continuous function, whereas if a function is continuous, it need not be a differentiable function. Okay, next we will see the derivatives of a composite function. Okay, composite function means one more than one function. Okay, more than one function put together. See, for this we have a rule called chain rule. What is chain rule? We will see now. See, let f be real valued function which is a composite of two functions u and v. That is, f, the function f is the composite function of u and v. Okay, so in that case what you do, this u, the function you write as, express as t. Okay, so what happened? For one of the function we are changing the parameter here. Then when it is applicable is, that is, this t should be differentiable. That is, dt by dx and v, the function v, dv by dt, both should exist. Okay, when both are exist only we can use this chain rule. That is, the function differentiable by f of x, that is, differentiating the function by x, that is, df by dx equal to dv by dt into dt by dx. That is what? I will get dv by dx. This you will understand clearly if we use this in a problem. So we will straight away go for the problem. Now we will see an example. Find the derivative of tan 2x plus 3. Okay, see here the function, given function is taken as f of x, that is, f of x equal to tan 2x plus 3. Now see, here it is a composition of two functions. What are the functions? A algebraic function. Okay, that is our algebraic expression under trigonometric function. So this algebraic expression alone I am taking as u, the function u. So u of x equal to 2x plus 3 and v as t. Okay, v of t as tan t, that is the trigonometric function tan function I am taking in terms of t. Then what happened? V composite u of x is v of u of x, that is v of u of x is 2x plus 3. Okay, then v is what? V of t is tan t, right? V is tan, this t is 2x plus 3 equal to f of x. See, we got f of x. So we can do like this. Okay, thus f is a composite of two functions. Now what we do? T equal to u of t, u of x, that is 2x plus 3, and dv by dt, that is this v I am differentiating with respect to t. Tan t differentiation is secant square t. Most important, you should get thorough with all the general derivatives. Okay, get thorough with all the general derivatives so that you can confidently use this in solving a problem. So tan t is secant square t and dt by dx is 2. Okay, that is t is to exist. They both this exist. Okay. What is dt by dx here? That is differentiate this with respect to x. So 2 into x plus 3. 2 into x is 2 plus 0, which is 2, no? It is what given here. Hence by the chain rule, df by dx equal to dv by dt into dt by dx, that is dv by dt is secant square t and dt by dx is 2, substitute that, and secant square t. What is t here? T is your 2x plus 3 and you will substitute, and this is the solution. Actually this is a bit tougher method, but this is what given in your book. We have a easier way to use chain rule here. We will see that now. See here another example. Differentiate sine of cos x square with respect to x. Okay, see again it is a composite of three functions here: sine, cos and a polynomial function. Okay, see again w, u, v3, all this function you will assign a function here, that is one can be v, one can be w, one can be u. Okay, this is of the same method which we done previously, but there is another method for the chain rule. We will do that now, alternative method. See, y equal to sine of cos of x square, that is this given function, just take it as y. Now directly you find the derivative, that is first find the derivative one by one. Let's see, dy by dx is d by dx of sine of cos of x square. So sine theta, what is the derivative of sine theta? Cos theta. Then so for sine it is cos, it gets over, cos x square, it got over, then we have to differentiate cos x square. See, cos x square we differentiate now. So cos x square is minus sine x square. Again we have to differentiate this x square. So differentiation of x square is 2x. Okay, hence on arranging the terms we will get the derivative. Actually this is the easier method guys, so you can always go for this method. Okay, if you want we will do one more problem also using this method. So next we will see explanation logarithmic function. See, we have a theorem on that. The derivative of e power x with respect to x, that is differentiating e power x with respect to x is just e power x. The exponential function you will get the e power x only. Okay. The derivative of log x with respect to x is 1 by x, that is log function if you differentiate you will get 1 by x. This you will use in problems, that is why we are seeing now. Just see, we'll just quickly go through this. Derivative of e power minus x is what? E power minus x only, but we have minus, in place of x we have minus x. On differentiating this we'll have minus 1. Okay, minus 1, that minus 1 only carried as minus here. Okay, similarly this also by using the chain rule. Okay, cos of log x, and again log x we have to find, the derivative of log x is 1 by x, that is cos log x, the derivative of log x is 1 by x. So, while finding the derivative you should check for the function also. Okay. Next we will see logarithmic differentiation, which is very important in this chapter. Okay. See, if a function y equal to f of x is given in the form of u of x to the power v of x, then on taking log, what will happen? Taking log on both the sides, that is log y equal to, this power will come here, will come to the front, that is v of x log of u of x. Okay, this also we will use. Question is, differentiate root of x minus 3 into x square plus 4 divided by 3x square plus 4x plus 5 with respect to x. That is, I am going to differentiate this function with respect to x. For that, let me take this function as y. Okay. Now, I can write this function as, see this root I can write as to the power 1 by 2, right. So, x minus 3 into x square plus 4 divided by 3x square plus 4x plus 5 power 1 by 2. Now what you do? Take log on both the sides. Take log. So you can write as log y equal to log of x minus 3 x square plus 4 divided by 3x square plus 4x plus 5 the whole power 1 by 2. Okay. So, according to the logarithmic rule, I can write this 1 by 2 before the log, that is x minus 3 x plus 4 divided by 3x square plus 4x plus 5. Okay. Now this again I can write as 1 by 2. You know log a by b is log a minus log b, that is log of this term, log of this numerator divided by log of this numerator minus log of the denominator. And in the numerator we have the product of two terms, which I can write as a sum of two terms. So I can write as log x minus 3 plus log x square minus x square plus 4 minus log 3x square plus 4x plus 5. Okay. Now we are going to differentiate this with respect to x. Okay. This is y. We are going to differentiate this with respect to x, that is dy by dx. Okay, we have log y here. So on differentiating, so differentiate with respect to x on both the sides. Okay, both the sides we are going to differentiate. Okay, we do this differentiate in the next page. See, what was the equation? Log y equal to 1 by 2 into log x minus 3 plus log x square minus 4. Here we have plus log of 3x square plus 4x plus 5. Okay, we'll just the equation once again. Yes. Now on differentiating, what I'll get? Log y is 1 by y. Since we are differentiating with respect to x, we should write dy by dx equal to 1 by 2 is constant. Differentiate log. See, all these are good example for what? Composition of function. See, I have a log function and in that I have a polynomial function. Okay, so it is a composition of two functions. Therefore, we should use chain rule here. Okay, I will tell you how to use chain rule. See, log x is 1 by x. So, log of x minus 3 is 1 by x minus 3. Again, we have to differentiate this polynomial function. That is, x minus 3 differentiation is, we could, that is, this is a constant, so you will get 0 and we could differentiate only x. Differentiation of x is 1. Next, log of x square plus 4 is 1 by x square plus 4 and differentiation of x square plus 4 is, differentiate 2x, sorry, x square is 2x plus 4 is 0, then minus log of this term is, we can write 1 by 3x square plus 4x plus 5. Again differentiate this polynomial with respect to x. So, I will get what? Differentiation of 3x square is 6x plus differentiation of 4x is 4. Okay. Differentiation of 5 will be 0 since it is constant. So, now differentiation of y is dy by dx. So, I just want dy by dx in my left hand side. So, let me take y to the right hand side, y by 2 into 1 by x minus 3 plus 2x by x square plus 4 minus 6x plus 4 into 3x square plus 4x plus 5. Okay, so in place of y, we will substitute the y value. Okay, so what is y? This term is y, right? Square root of x minus 3 into x square plus 4 divided by 3x square plus 4x plus 5. So, we have substituted y and then what is remaining we will substitute. And hence we got the answer. So guys, this is how you should do the logarithmic differentiation and this is how you should apply your chain rule when it comes to the composition of two functions. Okay, sometimes as we see in one more example, we will have composition of three function also. The same manner you do the chain rule. Okay, next we will go for the next concept. We have another important problem and this also you should differentiate by using logarithmic differentiation rule and using chain rule, and here also we will use the quotient rule. Okay, we will see. Let this be y. Okay, so let me take this as u and this as v. Okay, so u equal to x power x cos x. So take log, what I will get? Log u equal to log of x power x cos x. Now differentiate both the sides with respect to x, what I will get? 1 by y dy by dx equal to, before differentiating we will just take it front, log x. Now differentiate, see we have three functions, polynomial, a cos function and a log function. See what is this function? U, v, w the whole dash, that is u is a function, v is a function, w is a function. How would you differentiate? You differentiate one function at a time and find its sum and sum it up like this. Okay, you differentiate u and write the remaining as it is. Next you differentiate v and write the remaining as it is. Next you differentiate w and write the remaining as it is. Okay, so this is how we should do. First we will differentiate u. So u is your x. Okay, see this is going to be your u VW. Okay, now differentiate u, that is x. Already we have u, right? We have just taken u. Don't confuse it with this. Okay, differentiation of x is 1. And remaining is cos x and log x. Next, differentiation of v, right? This is not this v, it's a separate, this is for chain rule. No, this is for product rule actually. Okay, this is for product rule. Now v is what? Cos x. Differentiation of cos x is minus sin x. So x into minus sin x log x. Okay, so plus, next differentiate this w term, that is x cos x log x is 1 by x. Okay, now take this y to the other side. This is d, actually it is u. Okay, we are differentiating u, so this will be u. So I want du by dx, so take this is also u. So take this u to the other side, so u into cos x log x minus x sin x log x plus this x get cancelled, so cos x. So what is u here? X power x cos x. Substitute this u and cos x log x, that is I am writing the remaining part as it is. Okay, this is going to be a du by dx. Okay, next this part, this v part I should differentiate. We'll do that now. So v is what? X square plus 1 divided by x square minus 1. Okay, now differentiate v with respect to x. Okay, this you can use your quotient rule, that is u by v the whole dash is v u dash minus u v dash divided by v square. That is v is what? This term x square minus 1, u dash is, differentiate this term, x square plus 1 is 2x minus u is x square plus 1, v dash is x square minus 1 the whole divided by v dash actually, right? So v dash is, you should differentiate this. So on differentiating you will get 2x again. Okay, so remaining x square minus 1 the whole square. Now you have 2x into x square is 2x cube minus 2x, then minus 2x cube, that is multiply 2x inside, and minus 2x divided by x square minus 1 the whole square, both get cancelled, so minus 4x divided by x square minus 1 the whole square, and this is your dv by dx. So therefore dy by dx is your du by dx plus dv by dx. Okay, du by dx is this term, you should substitute. Okay, dv by dx is this term. Therefore on substituting both the terms you will get this answer, that is, see, this term let it be 1 and let it be 2, on 1 plus 2 you will get the answer. Okay, the main aim of the question is how you are using your, how you are bringing logarithm while differentiating and how you are using your quotient rule. Okay, I hope you understand. So let me move to the next concept. Next we will see the derivative functions in parametric form. Okay, when we will use this parametric form, we will see now. See, a relationship expressed between two variables x and y in the form, that is x equal to f of t and y equal to g of t, is said to be parametric form with t as a parameter. That is, we are taking a common parameter for x and y. Okay, So on differentiating this dy by dx, on differentiating dy by dt, that is on differentiating y by dt and x by t dt, we will get the dy by dx. Okay, so you will understand better when we apply in a problem. Now let us see an example for this parametric form. See, look at the question, find dy by dx if x to the power 2 by 3 plus y to the power 2 by 3 equal to a to the power 2 by 3. Let us take x equal to a cos cube theta and y equal to a sin cube theta. See, here I am taking the theta as a parameter, that is trigonometric function theta as a parameter for x and y here. Okay. So then what happened? If you add x to the power 2 by 3 and y to the power 2 by 3, I will get a to the power 2 by 3. Okay. So the same function you have. So always after just taking the parameter, just check for the given equation. Now go for the differentiation. So therefore these two are the parametric equation for the given equation. Now actually what you have to find, dy by dx, right? For finding dy by dx, differentiate y by theta and differentiate x by theta. On differentiating x by theta, see we have a into cos cube theta, and differentiating cos cube theta we have 3 cos square theta, and on differentiating cos theta we have minus sin theta, and that minus we have here into sin theta. And on differentiating y by theta, we have dy by d theta equal to a into, okay, differentiation of sin cube theta is 3 sin square theta, and differentiation of sin theta is cos theta. Now what we want? We want dy by dx, correct? So for that we have to write dy by d theta on the numerator and dx by d theta on the denominator and substitute it. Dy by d theta is 3a sin square theta cos theta divided by minus 3a cos square theta sin theta. 3a get cancelled, cos and 1 get cos get cancelled, 1 sin and the sin will get cancelled. So what we have? Minus of sin theta by cos theta, which is equal to sin theta by cos theta is tan theta. So we have minus tan theta. Therefore dy by dx is minus tan theta. And that's all the answer. So this is how you should introduce a parameter and do the differentiation. Okay. Next we will move on to the next concept, and we will see the second order derivative, which is also very important for learning the calculus. It is also very important in both point of view. What is second order derivatives? We know derivative, that is derivative of y is dy, that is differentiating y with respect to x, we get dy by dx. Again on differentiating with respect to x, that is differentiating the same function with respect to x for the second time, we get d square y by dx square, that is, so this is the second order derivative. Okay, same function, if you differentiate twice, you will get the second order derivative. That is a simple meaning for second order derivative. We will see an example now. See, if the function y equal to 3 into e power 2x plus 2 e power 3x, prove that d square y by dx square minus 5 dy by dx plus 6y equal to 0. Okay. See, just dy by, that is differentiating y with respect to x, we get dy by dx equal to 6 e power 2x plus 6 e power 3x. Why the 6 e power 2x is? See, 3 into e power 2x is e power 2x, 2x differentiation is 2. So, 6 e power 2x. Similarly, 2 into e power 3x is 6 e power 3x, and on simplify you will get this. And now differentiating this for the second time, you will get this. So, differentiating dy by dx for the second time is d square y by dx square, and on substituting all this in the given equations left hand side, you will get 0. Okay. Now, we will do a similar problem for a practice, that is also an important problem. So, next we will see an important sum. Guys, this is very important. So I wanted you to practice it. So see here the sum involves the second order derivatives. See the second order derivative. So we are going to differentiate this y two times. First we will find dy by dx, as dy by dx is also important to make this equation true. Okay. So differentiate y with respect to x. So what you will get, dy by dx equal to d by dx of e power a cos inverse of x. Okay. Now differentiate e power a into cos inverse is e power a cos inverse of x only. And now again differentiate this, that is a into cos inverse of x is minus 1 by square root of 1 minus x square. Okay, and this term is y, right? Y into, so a into minus 1 is minus a divided by root of 1 minus x square, that is dy by dx. Okay, now we want the second order derivative. This is the first order derivative. You can also write it as minus ay into root of 1 minus x square. Okay, now take square on both the sides. Take square on both sides. Okay, so dy by dx the whole square is equal to a square y square by 1 minus x square. Okay, take this to the other side. 1 minus x square into dy by dx the whole square equal to a square y. Now to get the second order derivative, we will differentiate this with respect to x. So that part of differentiation we will do it in the next page. Yes, see, differentiate with respect to x. Now this will be, here you will use the product rule. So this is a product of two function. It is like product of two function. So use product rule, that is uv dash plus vu dash. Okay, so u is 1 minus x square, v dash is, it is, you have to differentiate this part. So 2 into dy by dx, and on differentiating dy by dx we will get d square y by dx square plus vu dash is dy by dx the whole square, and u dash is minus 2x equal to a square into y square is 2y, and y on differentiating y we have dy by dx. Now see, both the sides we have this 2, no, this both in this both term we have 2, that we can take it out, and this 2 I can cancel. Okay, now what else I can take out common? I can take dy by dx common. Okay, dy by dx, if I take, what will be remaining? 1 minus x square into d square y by dx square plus dy by dx into x. This x I am making it here. Actually here it will become minus. Okay, equal to a square into dy by dx. So this dy by dx and this dy by dx gets cancelled. And what is remaining with 1 minus x square into d square y by dx square minus x dy by dx minus a square, that is taking this to the left hand side, is equal to 0. So just check what we have to prove. Yes, the same thing, right? Actually a y is here. Okay, ay. Yes, so hence we have proved. Okay, So what we did, we just differentiated the given function once and we get dy by dx, and second time while taking differentiation we got d square y by dx square, that's your second order derivative, and hence we substituted in the given equation, got the answer. So guys, let's also give importance to these type of questions. See, these type of question definitely will make you to think, that is, see, it involves a composite function, that is 2 or more function, and here see it has a parameter and also second order derivative, and here also the sum, see it is again a finding second order derivative, and see you have to find the derivative of a modulus function. This is also very important. What is this f dash of x? It's nothing but second order derivative. Either it can be expressed like this or with double dash. F dash of x is the first order derivative, f double dash of x is the second order derivative, or it can be expressed like this also. Okay, don't get confused, and problems like this also will come. Okay, so this just a simple derivation, but use logarithmic. See, it is again a logarithmic differentiation. So this type of question which involves 2 or more strategy like logarithmic differentiation and chain rule and again parameters, okay, in this combination, problems coming in this combinations are very important, and in addition to that you also solve the previous year question papers, and you solve other miscellaneous questions and give importance to your exercise questions also in the NCERT textbook. And that's all, practice well. So guys, in this class we learned the continuity and the differentiation of a logarithmic function, parametric function and the second order derivatives. I hope you all understood the concept and it is very much useful for your board exam preparation. So in the next class we will meet you with another important chapter, that is chapter 6, application of derivatives. Thank you.
For more queries, please contact Buddy on 98408 44987 or visit buddy.live.